have tons of NBA that we're talking this morning. Brian Windhorst here, Bobby Marks here, and a collection that you just will not believe if you're just tuning in. We want to start in the NBA this hour. Windy. Let's start with a Windy watch, and let's start in Los Angeles.
Yeah, so Luka Doncic has a really big decision whether to extend his contract with the Lakers coming up. Now, he can't do that for a month until August 2nd, but that doesn't mean the Lakers don't have to get busy, because they're going to, when they go to Luka with that deal, which they hope to get him to sign for 4 years, he may take a shorter contract, they're going to want to have shown him what they've done to improve this roster, specifically to get him a center. That's one of the things he asked for when he got traded there. It was one of the things they did in Dallas, which really helped supercharge that team. The Lakers have got to get to work on that. Also, LeBron James has a decision to make over the weekend. He has until Sunday to decide on his contract option. It's $53 million. Last year in this same position, he opted out of his contract, offered the Lakers to take a pay cut if they could find a free agent to sign. They didn't. This year, no such offer has been made, and the expectation is that LeBron will opt into this deal and take $53 million and his no-trade clause into next season. And then, obviously, we have one more thing, which is the Austin Reeves situation. He turned down a 4-year, $90 million contract extension this week. That was expected. He can sign for more next season when he can become a free agent and probably attract, if he has another good year, Dan, a 9-figure contract.
Yeah, that's good for him. But in the meantime, the Lakers, nobody made a bigger move than they made during the season when they got Luka Doncic. And as Wendy pointed out, now they got to convince him they're going to build a championship team around him. How do they do that?
Yeah, and Rob Pelinka, their general manager, he was up front, certainly at the deadline after the Luka trade when they tried to go acquire Mark Williams, and that trade was rescinded. And then when they lost in the postseason, he said, well, that's our priority right now. Here's what they have to offer in free agency in the trade market. They have the $5.7 million tax mid-level exception. What does that get you? Could get you a player like maybe Luke Cornett. The market of free agent centers is very shallow. Al Horford is certainly another name. Larry Nance Jr. Certainly Jackson Hayes, who is already there. Precious Achiuwa, Clint Capella. Those are some of your veterans there. Mason Plumlee, as we said. The other thing to focus on is the trade market. They have over $60 million in expiring contracts. Gabe Vincent, Rui Hachimura. They've got a first-round pick in 2031 or 32 to go out and make a deal. It's interesting, yesterday the Lakers sent out cash in a trade with Chicago. That has hard capped them at the second apron. They've got the flexibility still to make a deal. They're about $16 million under, so they have to prioritize how to make the money work. They're not allowed to take back more money in a trade. So if they trade a $12 million player, they can't take back $14 million in salary because of the apron rule. So we'll watch what the Lakers do over the next couple of weeks here.
Tim Bontemps, what do you think the Lakers should be doing over the next couple of weeks here?
Well, Bobby just nailed it, Graz. They have to go get a center. They have to also get some shooting on the perimeter. They need some more athleticism defensively on the perimeter. And look, all you got to do is look at how the Western Conference playoffs shook out. The Lakers lost in 5 games in the first round of the Minnesota Timberwolves. It was not an incredibly competitive series. And the Minnesota Timberwolves went on to make the Western Conference Finals and lost in 5 games to the Oklahoma City Thunder in what was a not very competitive series. So when you look at the gap that the Lakers have to make up to catch up to a team like Oklahoma City, the defending champions, who should be even better next season with a young roster, getting better and more experienced, and now going through the 4 weeks or the several weeks that it takes to win the 4 rounds to win a championship. The Lakers have a lot of work to do this summer to get to that kind of level, obviously with limited assets, as Bobby just laid out. But the first thing they have to do is go out and find a center. You look through that available list, there is not exactly a guy sitting there that's going to be the kind of lob threat and rim protector that Luka Doncic thrives so much playing alongside.
Wendy, how do you see this summer playing out for the Lakers?
Yeah, so none of those players, quite frankly, are a player that Luka Doncic is looking for, because they're not the lob threat and defensive center that fits. And that's really what really transformed his situation in Dallas when they went out and got Derek Lively, when they went out and got Daniel Gafford. So the Lakers are going to have to use these expiring contracts. And I will say, there should be a deal for them to make. Now, whether or not it will transform them as a team, I don't know. But they've prioritized it. They've had months to analyze it. They've had months to have negotiations. There's no reason why in the next few days they shouldn't be able to execute a trade. If they do not, they are going to basically be going to Luka and saying, hey, trust us. And maybe Luka will. Luka has given no indication that he won't sign that contract. But ideally, you want to get that locked up so that you can approach with new ownership a multi-year approach to building around Luka Doncic.
All right, so we'll keep a close eye on that. We're also keeping a close eye on Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Milwaukee Bucks. What's going on there?
Let's be clear here. He has not asked for a trade. The Bucks are not looking to trade him. Having said that, a lot of the league is keeping an eye on what will happen. The Bucks have 7 free agents. They really right now don't have a team that they could put together in any form. They have 4 core free agents. They were already a team that is going to be struggling to replace Dame Lillard for the majority, if not all of this season. They need a starting level point guard. So they have a lot of problems. They don't have good assets. They don't have salary cap space. They don't have draft assets to trade. And so the Bucks have stitched together repeatedly contending teams. Combined with Giannis playing like an MVP, they've become a contender. They're coming off a season where they finished 5th in the Eastern Conference. That is not a great position, and they are going to struggle to bring their whole team back without Dame Lillard. So the league is wondering, if this doesn't look like a contending team in a month, will Giannis revisit his position of keeping hands off? And that is one of the big things that could define this offseason in the NBA.
Tim, what do you think things will look like for the Bucks in a month?
Well, when Brian goes through that list of things, they don't have a lot of talent currently on the roster. They're going to have trouble keeping the current talent on the roster. They don't have a lot of draft picks to add to the roster, and they don't have free agency money to add to the roster. It's not exactly a rosy picture for what this team can do over the next several weeks. Now, we've seen General Manager John Horst, the Milwaukee Bucks, be very aggressive in the past. He's been able to go out and make moves that people didn't think they could. They went and got Drew Holiday a few years ago, helped to win a title. They went and got Dame Lillard a couple of summers ago. So certainly the Bucks have shown an ability to be aggressive in the past, to find ways to make moves. Even last summer, they got Gary Trent to sign for the minimum, a guy who people thought was going to sign an 8-figure per year deal when the summer began. So they have shown an ability to go get players. They do have playing time to offer. They do have playing next to Giannis Antetokounmpo as a carrot to offer. That's certainly something that can make guys look a lot better and get them paid more in the future. We saw that happen with Malik Beasley, who went on to sign with the Detroit Pistons last summer for more money. Like, they have things they can't offer, but this is a very difficult needle to thread for the Bucks to be good enough to really contend, even in the Eastern Conference, where you have Jason Tatum out for the year, you have Tyrese Halliburton out for the year, probably with Achilles tears. Difficult puzzle for the Bucks to try to solve over here over the next few weeks.
I keep on coming back to that Damian Lillard injury in the Indiana series here, and if that didn't happen, I think we're probably talking about Milwaukee in a little bit of a different light here. But he's going to be out for a significant period of time. They need a point guard here. It's basically what the league is telling you. You have $14 million. How do you want to go spend it? You want to go spend it and bring Gary Trent Jr. back, or do you want to go out and bring back a point guard here? The interesting thing will be is they got their finances in order. Would they go into the luxury tax to bring back this roster and also use that big exception here? We'll wait and see as far as if they do that.
And if they don't, is Giannis going to be in a position where he's going to want out, or should?
Well, listen, we saw during the Kevin Durant trade that there were teams that did not go all in, whether it be San Antonio, whether it be a team like the New York Knicks. There will be teams lined up if that ever does happen. This man is very loyal to his organization. He has been. He signed multiple extensions in the past. But I do think you get to a point, whether it be in a week or 2 weeks, where you look at this roster and you're going to have to evaluate, is this good enough here?
You mentioned the Knicks. That's the last team we want to hit on here in our Windy Watch. They don't have a coach. What's going on there?
So they're going to interview James Borrego, who was a finalist for the Cleveland Cavaliers coaching job last year, former head coach of the Charlotte Hornets, a well-respected assistant that comes out of the Greg Popovich tree. This will be the 4th interview that they've had since moving on from trying to hire another team's head coach, including former Grizzlies coach Taylor Jenkins, 2-time coach of the year Mike Brown, and earlier this week they interviewed Minnesota Timberwolves top assistant Micah Nori. At the end of the day, the Knicks situation has only brightened over the last couple of weeks. Even though there's a lot of doom and gloom about them not having a coach, the injuries in the Eastern Conference, plus the fact that they remain under the second apron, which gives them more maneuverability than some of their competing teams, their odds to win the East have only increased. This is a good job, and they are going to have a very strong team that they bring back that they will probably be able to add to, at least with a role player or two. It's just a matter of getting everything aligned. And at the end of the day, if their process is long, it doesn't matter if it yields the result they're looking for.
What do you make of the way the Knicks are handling this, Bobby?
Well, it's certainly interesting that free agency starts on Monday, and there's, they've got some open spots there, and there's a priority to improve their depth. The good thing is that their top 7 players are under contract, and the players that they're chasing are players that are under the veteran minimum contract here. It is interesting also that whoever they do hire,